So before we get into this, I want to be very clear that Math Hoffa ain't nothing more than a tether, which means he don't speak for foundational Black American lineage. So he went up there to VladTV, whom I don't rock with, and he was saying that, in the beginning, hip hop was some big cultural mixing pot, which it wasn't. Other groups of people didn't want nothing to do with hip hop in the beginning. It was solely us in the beginning as foundational Black Americans because we're the sole creators of hip hop, and then when asked by Vlad TV if he had a problem with a white man using the word nigga towards him, he said, it depends, and this is a complete no-no. And this is something we absolutely in a million years would never say as foundational Black Americans. That's how you know we ain't a foundational Black American lineage. You know what I mean? Because um, we it's just something we won't say. You know what I mean? This is why, truth be told, we get pushback and resistance to non-black people using the word. And he said also Math Tether. I call him Math Tether. He says he don't fight for the exclusivity of the word. And while we fight as foundational Black Americans for non-black people, we fight against non-black people using this word nigga because, in all actuality, our ancestors, some of them, the last words they heard was the N word with the hard ER before being strung up in a tree, being hit with uh, hoses, firebomb, German Shepherd dogs sicked on them. Our ancestors shed blood, sweat, and tears for this thing, and fought against this oppressive white supremacist system. So, of course, it's going to resonate different with us, but you ain't of the lineage. You come from a tether background, which means when the going gets tough, you get the hell up out of Dodge and flee to over here where foundational Black Americans made the lane, for everyone to enjoy a quality of life better than what they would have in their own homeland. So, of course, you don't got a problem with the word being thrown around like that because your ancestor didn't stand on business how ours did. Our ancestors stood on business and really died for us to have a better life and for what they believed in. So I got the audio and the video of this Tether Math Hoffa, going up there to Vlad TV. And he's real foolish, if you ask me. He lacks a black mind completely. He's a lost cause. And we're going to walk through and talk about it how we normally do. Fair use.
Don't give a fuck about that. We don't want to fight for that. The thing y'all want to hold on to, we don't want that. We don't want that. That's the white man, like, we just want this group of people to be the... No, we don't. That's not what we do here. We are white, Chinese, Black, Asian, Latino. Like, we don't...
And the reason he don't got a problem with whites, Latinos, Asians throwing around that word, because essentially that's what he's saying, because his ancestors weren't put through the stuff that our ancestors were, and his ancestors, didn't stand on business the same way ours did and fought this oppressive white supremacist system. This is why we fight against, non-black people using this word, because in all actuality, we know that a lot of our ancestors, that word nigga with the hard ER was the last word they heard when they were strung up in that tree, and left dangling. So yeah, it's just he's not of the lineage. He can't relate, and this is evidence of that. If you ever need any proof and the evidence of the foolishness of some of these tethers, just look at Math Hoffa. You have to look no further because he lacks a black mind. He's sitting up there. Vlad TV probably think he's stupid, saying that he ain't got a problem with a white man using the word nigga. Vlad know he's stupid in all actuality because Vlad even said, he'll say it later on that, he don't use the word. But let's continue.
White, Chinese, Black, Asian, Latino, like we don't fight for the exclusivity of this title. You know what I mean? Like,
because you don't come from the lineage of people that built America, that had to shed blood, sweat, and tears for what we believed in to make sure that, our future generations could have a better quality of life. But let's continue.
Who wants to fight for that? Like, why? Why you guys fighting for this shit? Like, I don't know.
Because our ancestors got it out the mud, and we don't let no non-black people, especially not no damn white people, throw around that word nonchalantly. Our ancestors shed blood, sweat, and tears, so we have a better quality of life. That's why we fight against non-black people using it.
All for just giving out to whoever.
He's a clown. He's a tether.
Whoever.
And this is why the delineation movement was needed, so we could separate from some of this foolishness and nonsense, because they'll dump this kind of stigma on all black people. And that's what that black mind, that foundational Black American majority spirit, we had never in a million years say some foolishness like we got to see, we don't mind if a white man says that word. That's something that we'll never say in a million years.
Use it in the right way. If you use it and you look a little bit angry when you use it, you might be in trouble. But as long as you use it in the right way, you know what I'm saying? So you're okay with white guys using the N-word?
Here we go.
It depends. If you grew up in our neighborhoods.
He said it depends. Wrong. Where the hell they do that at? See what I'm saying, family? We'd never in a million years say it depends on if a white man could use the word. If a white man used that in front of us, he gonna get some teeth knocked out quick, fast, and in a hurry. But let's continue.
It's almost like a badge of honor for the struggles of poverty in urban neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew Antonio and his parents had the same issues that mine did.
And they love to play that card of New York being some big culturalness, multiculturalness, where everybody was hanging out, the blacks and the Puerto Ricans was hanging out. Nah, you got some foundational Black American brothers that's from New York that's saying otherwise, that everybody was cordoned off in their little sections. The Puerto Ricans stayed with the Puerto Ricans, and we as Black people were amongst ourselves. So it wasn't like that. He's trying to paint this false narrative, a false picture, if you ask me.
I was his, you know what I'm saying? Like it didn't hit us the same way that, someone down south, that you might have heard that for the first time out of a truck from a hillbilly. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, and that your parents let you know it was supposed to be something wrong and he wasn't supposed to say that. We didn't have that up here. We didn't have that up here. I think that word shouldn't be used by any white person. Like, all the times you hung out, have you ever heard?
See, even Vlad got enough common sense to know this is foolishness. Vlad probably laughing at him secretly in his mind, for him saying this foolishness. And you could tell he ain't of the lineage, because never in a million years will we say that, we got to see, or we don't have a problem with a white man using this word, because we take offense to, non-Black people, especially white people, using this word as foundational Black Americans. We come from that warrior class of people that stood on business and fought to knock the system of racism, white supremacy down, and he comes from a fleeing class. These people ain't got no backbones, so they get over here and they just happy to be in America, that they go along to get along. But Math Tether ain't nothing more than a tether, and he don't speak for foundational Black American lineage or business, but let's continue. I want to pull up when they started talking about the hip hop thing. This also went on up there at VladTV. Just a second, family. Here we go. Fair use.
I guess we share that. I had no clue. I had no clue. But
well, I think I gotta rewind it back a little bit.
For a while. Mm-hmm. But then me and Tariq actually got on the phone, and he explained to me the reason why he popped out was because he thought that I purposely brought this guy who he was beefing with to try to escalate the beef. When the reality was, I didn't even know they had a beef. And once I released the whole interview, he got to see for himself that I never even brought up his name until Tommy just brought it out on his own, and I just kind of skimmed past the topic. Right. And suddenly he shows up. Right. But it was basically that. He just thought that I was trying to fan the fire of their beef, when I said I honestly had no idea. Right. I guess we share that. I had no clue. I had no clue. But, he came in again because, to basically, for us to talk about that on camera, as well as to promote his new project.
Here we go.
Which was a documentary trying to prove that hip hop was solely started by Black Americans.
Trying to prove, we done proved it, you know what I mean, that it was created by solely foundational Black Americans. Everybody had to amalgamate into what we was doing already as foundational Black American. There ain't no roots of Puerto Rican music or no Jamaican music, none of the sort in hip hop. Everything derived from, disco, funk, jazz, rhythm and blues, and these are all foundational Black American music genres. So they can miss me with that. We already done proved it, and everybody else is operating off of emotion. We came with the receipts and the proof on this, but let's continue.
Americans and Puerto Ricans and whites and Asians and Latinos kind of had nothing to do with it until way later.
They didn't in the beginning. Latinos, Puerto Ricans, white people, they all looked at it as bad. Puerto Ricans will say, let the Morenos have that. You know, they was cordoned off in their own little sections doing their own thing. We as foundational Black Americans, you know, we made hip hop music out of the struggle of being that oppression that we was under at the time. But let's continue.
And to me, I just don't really agree with it because, all right, Cool Herc is
But
Jamaican.
Vlad is a damn culture vulture. Who the hell is he to like, agree? You know, his opinion has no merit, you know, because he ain't of the culture, you know what I mean? And he comes in there and always speaking upon, you know, Black issues as he got a pass to do so. He ain't nothing more than a culture vulture who gets up there and, you know, creates problems with Black people, loves talking about, he loves hearing, I know this for a fact, he loves hearing about, you know, Black people get up there and say they shot another Black person and did some kind of harm to a Black person. I believe in his mind he gets his rocks off by this. And these types of individuals like Vlad, we need to push outside of the culture, you know, get them out instead of, you know, keep on continually letting them fester and be amongst us. But let's continue.
Because Cool Herc is Jamaican. Right? And some of the things that he did in terms of the way he would DJ.
And Kool Herc was influenced by foundational Black Americans. He even got a, you know, an interview out there where he said it. So everything these people are saying is this thing that we saying, but they just trying to take it up out of our hands and remix it. But they saying essentially what we're saying, that foundational Black Americans created, because even Kool Herc said he was influenced by Black Americans.
And Toast on the mic and everything else like that came from Jamaican dancehall culture. Right? So there is a connection there, and it's a cool connection. I mean, I don't think it's a connection that should be like struck down and abolished. Like, yeah, it's kind of dope that there's Jamaican roots to it. I mean, hip hop just
ain't no damn Jamaican roots to hip hop. All the roots to hip hop is funk, jazz, rhythm and blues, disco, you know, and these are foundational Black American art forms. You know, you can't get away from the fact that it don't have no Puerto Rican roots, you know, no Jamaican roots, and you can't show me to where though it has, but I can show you where it has, you know, it has elements of our brother James Brown and our other, you know, foundational Black American brothers like Roger Troutman. You know, they were instrumental, you know, in the inception of hip hop, you know, but they're basically, you know, they can't get away from the fact. The fact is that foundational Black Americans solely created hip hop. It was looked at as a bad thing, you know, and when it was looked at as positive, when people were accepting it and it was influencing people all over the world, now everyone wants to lay a claim to it. But let's continue.
Making roots to it. I mean, hip hop just the beats alone has always been comprised of different art forms. Right, you're sampling the first.
And our art forms, rhythm and blues, jazz, you know what I mean? And the reason that we fight tooth and nails, you know, and we had to debunk the lie of it being some kind of 50-50 thing where other people helped us, Puerto Ricans, this, that, and the other, even Jamaicans, because we as foundational Black Americans, we make the lane to create things and other people come and exploit it, you know, and then lay claim to it. We created country music, and our younger people would never know that, you know, if we weren't putting out the narrative, you know, because they'll have it look like white people created it, you know, because other people take from us and exploit it and then lay claim to it. Now all of a sudden they created it. They kicked the owners and the builders out of the house and they say that they were the builders. And them days is gone. We can't have this no more. So we changing the narrative, and anything that, you know, says otherwise, we working to combat that and knock it down altogether.
Comprised of different art forms. Right, you're sampling the first hip hop song. Right, was a total sample of a disco song. Right, Good Times.
And they're saying what we're saying. The brothers in Good Times, I believe it was a few brothers and sisters, and they were FBA jazz players in that group, whatever that group was that put out that song Good Times. So they're essentially saying what we saying, and no matter how they route it or try to rewrite history, they can't take it away from hip hop being solely a foundational Black American creation. You know, in the beginning it was looked at as a negative thing, let them Morenos have it, and what them white people used to say was let them N-words with the hard ER have it. You know, that's garbage music. We don't want nothing to do with it. And we were the only ones that elevated and lifted up because it came through out of our fight, our struggle, and oppression as foundational Black Americans. Just my thoughts on the matter. But Vlad ain't nothing more than a culture vulture, and Math Tether ain't nothing more than a tether who ain't got no history of standing on business or fighting truth to power. Peace.